Welcome to Gleaning and Gathering. I am Eric Heimlich, your podcast host, and today I have a very special guest with me here in the studio. She is thrilled to be here, and that is my very own wife. Rachelle, how are you?
I'm good.
Now,
I'm thrilled to be here.
I am sure you are. The honest truth is that, well, we're here, but she may not be thrilled to be here. This next week, we are celebrating, actually in just 5 days, we are celebrating our 24th wedding anniversary. And I thought, what better time to give you a wonderful present than to make you a guest.
Thank you.
Oh, dear. So we were talking a little bit before starting this recording about what would you say to your 21-year-old self. 24 years is a long time, and at the same time, it's not. Looking back over the past 24 years to when I was 20 years old, standing there in Rogersville, Missouri, getting ready to make that commitment, I had no idea how fast 24 years would go. And I think the thing for me is looking back over this is that promise that we stood and made on that day, you know, you say words like for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. But really realizing, standing here 24 years later, just how short life is, I guess, is the thing that I didn't realize standing there at that point. So what would you say to your 21-year-old self there?
Well, I'm not sure everything that I would say. As I was thinking about it, one of the things that came to mind was you can't determine or plan or know, I guess, the twists and turns that your life is going to take.
Yeah.
You know, you can want it to go in a direction, you can plan, and you should, but the only thing that you can control, I guess would be the right word, is your attitude towards it. And so I guess maybe just determining that you are going to, even though you won't like or find fun, I guess, with every turn that your life will take, you can accept it with a joyful spirit if you choose to.
Yeah, my friend Darren Campbell said that living life with guys like us who are entrepreneurial types is a little bit like riding behind a speedboat. And that, the guy up there in the front, he's just having a great time, just hitting the waves, and the people that are behind the speedboat are kind of like on jet skis or on water skis, rather. And as long as you're standing up, it's kind of fun. But then you go down, and you're just being drugged, and pretty soon it's not very fun anymore. Sometimes that's been an analogy that we've used in our household. Life behind the speedboat, and that's kind of what you've had to deal with a little bit, or a lot.
I've got to enjoy.
Yeah, you've got to enjoy life behind the speedboat. But talk about that a little bit. What has that been like to you?
Oh dear, what's it been like? Unpredictable. You never know. You never know when it's. I'm not really sure what to say. Fun, frustrating, stressful, restful.
It's just a mixture.
Exhausting.
Of things. Yeah.
I don't know. It's exciting is a word that comes to mind.
I think one of the things that obviously standing there as a young lady, you had no idea.
I had no idea
what all you would get into.
No, I had no idea.
And what you were signing up for. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of young couples don't recognize is life is full of twists and turns.
Mm-hmm.
And where you think you're headed may not be at all where you're actually headed. Sometimes God has ways of changing those directions.
I think that willing to be molded in all kinds of ways. It can be a beautiful, exciting, blissful, just sweet time there standing. And those times still come. But if you are focused on that and
Mm-hmm.
you are thinking that your whole life is going to be that, with a few disappointments and frustrations, and, that's kind of thrown in there. But the majority of it is going to be this wonderful, romantic life with this amazing man that you just love unconditionally, and obviously you continue to love unconditionally, but if you are focused on the sweet,
Mm-hmm.
just
The emotional part of that.
then it is going to break you,
Mm-hmm.
possibly.
Yeah, I remember Pastor Rick saying in our wedding ceremony, quoting Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he said, "Your love has brought you to marriage, but now your marriage will sustain your love." And there's something about that if love were enough, you wouldn't need marriage.
Well, I remember too, I think, thinking when I heard that, I was just like, no, I mean, yeah, marriage will sustain your love, but no, love is going to carry us through,
Mm.
because it sounded like, after you make this commitment, then whether you want to or not, you're stuck,
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I've come to learn that's not what that means.
Right.
But if you're just going on the emotion of love, that's not going to be enough.
No.
And it can, as you grow, as we have grown, as we have raising our family, you continue to learn and you continue to love and to grow in your love.
Mm-hmm.
At 21, I don't think I ever knew the depth that I could love.
Mm.
And so it was I loved you deeply, but as you grow together
Mm-hmm.
in life's experiences, that love grows deeper.
Mm.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's true. And I think that, many times you don't recognize the ways in which, God is growing you and growing that
Mm-hmm.
love until you're going through those difficult things. And it either makes you bitter or makes you better.
Right.
The same sun that hardens the clay softens the butter. And I think that, for us, I mean, having children obviously was a huge game changer. Kaylin came along when we've been married for almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she was born on May 28th, and we celebrated our second anniversary just a few days later. And that changed a lot. I know that for me, when I saw her and held her for the first time, it was like, wow, this sense of responsibility, this sense of
Mm-hmm.
weight that as a dad now that I carry is just it's sobering. What's that like as a mother?
You're asking some hard questions.
It's what I get paid to do.
Yeah.
Ask hard questions.
I think a lot of things. A couple that came to mind immediately is we were talking about love earlier. To me, it brought on a whole new depth of love, I guess, because now this is, like you said, you are responsible for this person. Like, especially as a newborn, her very life is in your hands, so to speak. Obviously, God is sustainer of all life, but you are responsible for this child that He has given you. And then another thing, so for instance, when we were living and working in Indianapolis, and You and I could put ourselves in some interesting
Yeah,
situations,
and we did.
but whenever your little baby comes,
Yeah,
that makes you look at it differently.
yeah. As we're headed into little upstairs back room spaces, sharing home Bible studies with people, and now Kaylin's going with us, and sitting on those floors and sitting on our lap, and
And it was also very exciting for me to see how many doors a little child would open.
absolutely, yeah, and she did, and I really think that raising them in that environment was a positive, raising them in a missional sort of way,
Right.
and many of their friends and first experiences were with people who came from very different backgrounds
Right.
than they came from. So now we've been through 24 years almost of married life together, 6 children spread out from 22 all the way down to 5, almost 6. It's a different season that we're in right now, and it's kind of that I don't know if you call it the second half, but we're kind of at least approaching halftime, I guess, probably, if this were a game. How do you feel like that the overall experience of marriage now is different from when we were first married? So as a newly married couple, we could kind of pick up and go wherever we wanted to, whenever we wanted to. Obviously, the ship is a little harder to turn now with children, and we have to think about that. But in what ways do you feel like that our relationship has changed as our marriage has gone on? For those of you who cannot see Rochelle's face, it's
Don't
like deer
describe.
in a headlights. Like, I cannot believe it.
Don't describe my
She's asking. She's
expressions.
asking this.
Well, why don't you answer that first, and then I'll bounce off your answer.
Well, I think for me, okay, so the thing that's changed is that there's a familiarity there. There is a sense of solidness there, and a sense of just it's like that blanket that you've had for years that's your favorite one, versus the one that's brand new, and the brand new one may seem like it's better because it's brand new, but there's a familiarity there.
There's a comfort.
Yeah, there's a comfort in that that is familiar, and yet it's new. And as I've continued to try to learn who you are and how God has made you, like, I've never run out of learning opportunities. But I do think I've learned a few things. You could probably give some illustrations of that. But we'll skip those. Those are for another podcast.
Oh, dear.
No, I think, though, that for me, that familiarity is something that has just, it's special. And that bond, that connection, like, I can almost finish the thought, or that you can finish a thought that I have almost, or we in a crowd or in a situation,
Right.
and like, because of our shared experience, what I'm
Right.
talking about. Where I'm going, what I'm thinking, even though I haven't been able to communicate that. And I think that, after 24 years, just having that sense of protection, like that, I know you have my back.
Right.
I know that you're with me in this. And even though we may not see it in the moment the same, like, I know that we're in this together. And that gives me confidence to be able to move forward. And I think that as a newly married couple, like, we're still trying to figure out,
Right.
who are we? What are we about? Where are we headed? There's just not that level of trust at that point that I feel like we have now. So that's how I would answer it.
Well, and I feel like too that the two words that came, I guess, was safety
Mm-hmm.
and constancy. I think that's the right
Mm-hmm.
word. Just the constant, you're there,
Mm-hmm.
and the safety in that knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're not there. So when you've traveled or when, and we have not gone with you. And I know at the same time that it's not guaranteed
Mm-hmm.
that you will always be there. Obviously, God's plans, you know, He can do whatever He wants to and take you home whenever He wants to. I'm not sure how to say it. I guess the safety in knowing, like you said, that, we have each other's back and we know not always, but there is a familiarity that we didn't have 24 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. And when you're standing there at the beginning of your life together, you think you know all there is to know about
Mm-hmm.
this person that you're committing to, and then you realize very, very quickly that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And being willing to continue to learn together, and there comes a point you don't know everything about this person that you're going to know, but enjoying the things that you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that, oh, I just love everything I'm learning about him, but enjoying the fact that you're in this for life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always going to be good and fun and wonderful and exciting, but being committed to this person that through the tough times there will be, when you come through those hard, difficult times, there will be fun times again.
Yeah.
And learning, it's exciting, and to be able to please my husband when I find things that he enjoys or that he likes, that I might not would have known 24 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, another thing is also sharing those. I think it's exciting to share those with your children.
Mm.
So when, being able to say, hey, did you know that daddy really likes whatever? And we're going to do this for him as a surprise, or.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that is part of the marriage vow that we say is for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. And obviously, life is full of those twists and turns. And in 2012, when you begin to have seizures, our life kind of took a major turn at that point. And I remember, waking up there August 21st, 2012, and thinking that I was losing you, and that you were dying during that first seizure. And the sense of loss, in that moment, and how difficult that was. Even though I wouldn't wish that on anyone, God was able to use even those experiences as we walked that road to draw me closer to our family. And at that point, I was going a lot of different directions, and God kind of trimmed all the branches off my tree and brought me back home. I had to focus, and I needed to focus. And looking back on that, 11 years later, I'm just so thankful that God did what He did. I hate it that it took something so extreme as that to do it, but I'm thankful for the ways in which God awakened me to see that I needed to focus. I needed to be here. I needed to be at home. And now you just celebrated 2 years seizure free, and it looks like that at least we've passed through that season. But what was it like on your side?
Okay, so I determined I wouldn't cry, but I might, okay? Because I'm a crier. I remember for years it seemed like I felt guilty. Obviously, I didn't decide to start having seizures, but I saw it as I was the reason that you couldn't travel anymore, or as much, that we didn't go as a family, that our kids took a lot more responsibility as far as taking care of each other and taking care of the house, and which they had done a good job of that before, but it became almost out of a really deep sense of necessity,
Mm-hmm.
because the whole day after I would be completely out, like sleeping. I guess for years, the one word I would sum that up the way that I felt was guilty.
Mm.
That I was the one who changed everything instead of seeing it as God's way of drawing us closer together, I guess.
Mm.
And I guess for all of us realizing that life is precious.
Yeah.
Life together is
Yeah.
precious. It's a gift.
Not to be taken for granted.
You say things like life is so precious, life is a gift, but until there's a tragedy or until something happened, trauma or, anything like that, I don't think you can understand the deep truth of that.
Yeah.
And, even now I think, oh, Rochelle, it's not that, it wasn't that bad. I mean, dear me, there's people who have suffered a whole lot more. And I'm not at all trying to make light of their situations, that have lost someone or something
Sure.
more severe has happened. But I do think that coming to the realization and grasping the realization in a new and intense way that your life together is precious.
Yeah. It is.
And even in the times where, I'll just be really real here,
Mm-hmm.
where we make each other incredibly upset
Mm-hmm.
and downright mad, it is still something to truly be valued, because I know I keep using this word, but it is precious.
Mm-hmm.
And just the even the depth of our kids realizing that.
Yeah. And I think that, continuing to recognize that whatever those things are that God brings into our lives, that He's working all things together for our good, and that He's a good Father.
Right.
He gives us good things, and that it is a season. We're only here for a little bit, but while we're here, we should treasure that.
Right.
Well, I have enjoyed the last 24 years, and we'll try to bring you on here in the podcast in another 24 for our 48th wedding anniversary. I'm just kidding.
So I don't have to get on until then?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
okay.
we'll talk with the producers and see what they say.
Yes.
But no, thanks again for taking time, and I hope that something along this conversation is an encouragement to others that are on the journey. I had to say to somebody who's right now, in a difficult place in your marriage, stick with it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. There are great rewards to those who just push through and don't pull the plug. I recognize that, you may be in an abusive situation, and there are times when, you have to get out for the sake of children, for the sake of your own life. And I'm not saying stick with it through that sort of situation. That's not what I'm saying. I think there's a time when enough is enough. But maybe you're just going through a difficult time right now in your marriage, and you're wondering, is it really worth it? Mm-hmm. Maybe you're facing financial difficulty. Maybe you're facing physical difficulty, or your partner is facing something physical. I don't know what you may be going through right now, but I do know that your marriage is worth saving,
Right.
and that God is able to make your marriage different. I'm thankful for my wife, thankful for the 24 years we've shared together, and I'm thankful for the lessons that He's continuing to teach me through marriage and through our relationship. So thank you.
And I think that one more thing.
Yeah.
If you are the one riding the skis behind the speedboat, it's okay to just want to break.
Yeah.
That's okay. But God has people. God has people that are all different. And being his child first, he has put you there for a reason. And he has, as wives, he has put us there to be a support. And he will give us strength to do that if we will allow him to. And I don't want to, I'm not trying to say, oh, it's been frustrating at times, but it's just so wonderful. It is. I guess I just wanted to encourage there are good things.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in a spot right now that you're just like, oh my lands, I'm done. He has pulled me all over the place too long, and I'm tired of it. It's okay emotionally to be tired.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. And it's okay even to want or need a break.
Mm-hmm.
But don't give up. Don't quit,
Yeah.
because it is worth it.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for taking time, and I hope that gleaning and gathering is a blessing to you, and wherever you find yourself in this season of life, whether you're still single or whether you're married, or whether you're right now missing that partner who's already gone home. Pray that God would just be with you and sustain you and continue to help you for gleaning and gathering. God bless.